Hey, folks.
Okay, it's official. All right, ready? Okay. Hello out there in Packer Nation, and welcome to another edition of the Absolute Packer Podcast. It is May 6th. This is going to be the post-draft edition. We had a little bit of delay in getting something out a little bit quicker, but everybody's schedule was busy as all hell. We're here now. This is going to be episode 48, and I am Andrew Hetzel, along with Elliot Christensen and Jeremy Hautala. What's up, boys?
Hey.
What's going on?
I feel like an old man, so I'm gonna just throw that out there.
Okay. Well, you look
Just-
like one too.
Like,
Yeah, thank you.
like especially today, or like in general.
Especially today. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I
Full on
mean,
landscaping duty, he said.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's right. I mean, you look extra sprightly with
Yeah,
your
it's like-
You got your green and gold on. Yeah, I
Nice.
did not. I wore mine yesterday.
Yeah. That's a good segue. I'm not wearing APP stuff, but I am wearing Creature of the Wheel, which I talked a little bit about last time. I figure I'll just talk about a little bit here. This is a like a passion project of mine that I'm turning into a real brand. It's a lifestyle brand for those who ride. I developed it. I'm big into cycling, and it's going to be hats, T-shirts, hoodies, other merchandise, stickers, and stuff like that. And it'll continue to grow. Going to launch it formally probably within the next 4 weeks, but I'd like to pump it up.
I have a question about your ad. Or
What's up?
Like, so you had the thing on Facebook. Are those
Thank-
like people that you know, the people that were wearing your gear, or was that like
Oh.
is that like a photoshopped kind of thing?
That's a good segue. And yes, another good, intro just for me to get into there. A segue.
Yeah.
Fumbling over my words. Okay. The short answer is nobody outside of myself has been photographed in any of my stuff. All Photoshop composite. Every last single thing you've seen is Photoshop composited by yours truly, because I am a graphic designer by trade. There's a reason for that. The big one is cost, and I'm a control freak. But obviously, when we get real product, I'm going to get more actual pictures and photos of the stuff, the real stuff going. So that a lot of that was done on necessity, but I found a really good site out there to be able to do that, and it fit the brand well, so I ran with it. But the other thing I got, if you guys don't mind, we talked about it. I am now a published author. I wrote a book, and it is not about football, even though I love my Packers and all that. This is about. It was kind of spurned by my or brought on by my my near-death what we call my little episode, my near-death experience with E. coli in late 2018. So that was the genesis of the idea for it, but the entire narrative of the book, which is called "You Were That Close," written by me. Again, this was another passion project of mine, if you will. I even talk about Creature in the Wheel in here because there's a story behind that and how it relates to this too. But I'd say it's divided up into thirds, in terms of the subjects in here. Number one was kind of talking about E. coli and recovering from that, going through that and recovering for it. But the other two parts, 67% of the book basically, is talking about things that happened before then. Some things I had to deal with personally. I don't want to give away all of it. I'd rather people, if they could, read the book. But I talk about a lot of heavy shit in here, actually. And so it's not what people would think, I would say. And I think it's 100 pages. It's got pictures, so it's not like this is a super intense read, but for me, I'll leave it at this. It's a huge part of my personal brand now, even with Creature of the Wheel and just me as a person. And if people want to kind of figure out more about me and some of my recent happenings, if you will, I would recommend this book, and I'll start sharing it a little bit more again. So it's called "You Were That Close" by Andrew Hetzel, available soon. So, all right, enough of that crap. Me pushing all my stuff.
I think when we plan our official APP get together this summer, we should have a signed an autographed copy of that available as a grand prize.
You gonna sign it?
Well, I mean, I'll sign it. Nobody cares if I sign it. I'm saying you should sign it. I'll pay for it. You should sign it. How about that?
I'm good with that. Like, all kidding aside, it's, I think it's got something for everybody. Young, old, whoever. It was kind of cathartic to write, but I also wanted to give it away to people. Again, there's a lot of heavy stuff in there. This isn't like, I joke around a lot, but there's not a whole lot of joking around in this thing. So you get to see the serious side of me. Anyway, enough of the serious stuff. Let's talk about the bullshit football right now.
Nice segue.
So the big thing that obviously has happened over the past few weeks was the NFL draft. And the Packers have all their picks, and we've had some other happenings go on there. So I have Jeremy's notes here, which he so graciously put together. Why don't we just run by him in order? And the draft is, near the top of that. But the first thing that's on there is Packers picked up the fifth-year option on Kenny Clark, the nose tackle. Tell me I got that right. He's not a defensive end. He is a nose tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was in a coma, as I always like to say. No. No brainer. I guess it was just a question of when, not if, they were going to do this. I can't believe how young this guy is. Apparently, when he came in the NFL, he was 12 years old. No, but he's going into his fourth year, and he's younger than two of the draft picks from this year's incoming draft. So, wow. I guess he was 19 when he got drafted or something, but it's incredible. And he's still, getting better and better, which is
scary.
Crazy. Yeah, it's scary. On the trend he's going, he should be an all-pro.
He's younger than Windows 95.
Jeez.
And you said you weren't a tech guy. Now we're getting a tech joke.
Well, I just pulled up, I just looked at it, glanced at his Wikipedia here, and it's like, oh wow, I'm super old.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, I see that about all these guys now, though. I mean, they're all that, they're all getting to be that young. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think Randall Cobb, actually, from what I remember, he was the first player when they drafted him in 2011. He was the first player born in the 90s.
Oh,
I want to say, when they drafted him.
Yeah.
And now you got guys that are going to be born in the 2000s. So we're going to just be old men yelling at clouds, pretty soon.
Is that what happens? We just start yelling at clouds?
No, that's from The Simpsons. Old man yells at cloud. Don't you remember that? That little. It was like a meme they got out there.
Okay. I don't want to become a cartoon. I feel like I'm already enough like a cartoon.
Speaking of old, The Simpsons has been on the air. It's like the longest running show ever. It came out in 89?
He's younger than The Simpsons.
Oh my God.
Who are we talking about? A football player or a stand-up comedian? It's
probably all of them. They're probably all younger than The Simpsons. Think about
yeah,
that.
That's crazy. I mean, but Kenny Clark, I mean, again, no brainer. He's the, this, would you say he's the centerpiece of the defense? I mean, yeah. So I don't know if you have anything specific to add there, Jeremy. You probably know a bit more about him specifically, but I'm glad they at least got this done. And it sounds like you had some numbers in there. It's close to 8 million or something. Is that?
Well, how they base it off of is your top 25. I think it's the top 25 picks. And then the top 25 of the salaries, or excuse me, the top 25 of the salaries, not the picks of the position. This year it's right around 7.1 million. Tomorrow or next year it's going to be estimated to be around 8 million. So you think about it, he's making just under 3 million this year, 8 million next year. Shit, for that kind of player, if they don't sign him to an extension, I mean that's a cap savings right there financially. Yeah. But it's a whale of a steal that they're getting for what they're going to be paying him. I mean, the dude is going to be getting better. He's going to be getting better with all the good players around him now. So, I mean, the sky's the limit with him. It's truly the limit.
Yeah, no doubt. So, again, I think, it's a no-brainer to do that. I imagine they're going to sign him to an extension.
Soon.
It's got to be a priority at some point here. So, yeah, that's good news. You got your extremely young defensive centerpiece getting picked up for it's 1 year essentially, but it's a song based on his production. Got him for a song,
Yeah, he's right now he's under contract until the end of the 2020 year. So we have him for another 2 years.
Sweet. Okay. All right. So now on to the draft. The Packers drafted 8 players. I think they had 10 picks when they started, but they traded a couple away, and that was to move up to get Savage, the safety. Now, you guys, you're not going to believe this, or maybe you will. I guess it depends. I might be setting myself up, but I didn't watch a single minute of the draft. I followed it on Twitter, but I did not watch. I don't think I watched any of day 1 or day 2 or in real time, if you will. I was kind of stunned about that. But in a way, as I say that and take a step back, you almost don't have to if you're on Twitter and you see these things. There really isn't a need for it. But yeah, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, how committed am I to this venture if I didn't even watch any of it? But I got it all through osmosis on Twitter, I guess. So that counts. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I a crazy person?
No,
Okay.
it's 2019. So there's plenty of other ways to get your draft coverage besides just sitting in front of a TV and watching it like me, like a douche like me. So
I remember, this is funny little story for all the listeners out there and for you guys. When the first pick came in, I can't remember what the hell I was doing, but I checked my phone and it was like a half an hour after the pick actually happened in timeline, and Jeremy wasn't terribly happy with the selection at the time. Now I think that things have changed, and then because you were like, oh, I don't know about this guy, and then you heard that he's gonna be a 3-4 outside linebacker, which that I don't. It's okay. I'm kind of going off on a tangent there, but the first player comparison I heard was Nick Perry. Now that's kind of been peeled back, which I guess is good, but at the same time I'm going, if you're going anywhere near that, that's not good, because it's the wrong kind of. I mean, Perry was a 4-3 end, as we know. He was not a 3-4 outside linebacker. Now, again, I don't coach football. I just sit here and yap on and about it with you guys, but it was a bit strange, I guess, because he played. What did he play in college? He played in a 4-3 in college.
Yeah, in college, the same with Perry. He either lined up nose up with the tackle or on the tackle's left shoulder, and got a little bit better of an angle, rushing angle out of it. But in the NFL, when you're an outside linebacker, you're standing up, and you're probably about another pace or so outside. So it takes a lot of diagnosis and a lot of smarts up here to read the tackle to try to figure out how you're going to rush him and get past him. Unlike in college, where you could pretty much do anything if you're, supremely talented like he is. But in the NFL, it's going to be a different game. And that was when I did my Facebook Live. That was my biggest issue with it was, okay, if they're going to put him at outside linebacker, don't do that. If you want to play him there on occasion just to mix it up, that's great. I mean, that's the thing that this defense, that the players that they've brought in, they're all very multidimensional. They can play, 3 technique. They can play 5 technique. They can play over the nose. They can play outside the tackle. They can play wherever they want. And that's what Pettin loves, is he loves guys that can be versatile so that he can scheme them in ways to make them successful. So that's good. But the thing that with Gary, that really concerns me is, the Nick Perry comparison came up. I don't think that's really fair.
I don't think so either.
Because Perry he's a 6-year, 7-year veteran now, and he's not with the team anymore, and that didn't work out. But this is a new guy. Does he have the talent? Yes. Does he have what it takes to make it in the NFL? Yes, he does. I mean, he was a top high school recruit coming out of high school. Of all the players, he was the top in the nation. So he's got the talent. But now it's a matter of translating to the NFL, which is going to be going up against better offensive linemen than he did in the Big Ten. That's a given. So can he do it? He can. But now he's got to put in the work, and they have to, through the OTAs here, the rookie minicamp that they just finished today. They have to be able to go out there and look at him and figure out where he's going to be best utilized. I don't know where that's going to be at this point because I don't see it, on a day in, day out basis. But to me, putting him outside the tackle, I think it's a big mistake. But we'll see.
Yeah. The other thing about him was that there was rumors that he was injured, and I know that he showed up for the first minicamp and he had a sling. His shoulder was in a sling, so I guess we'll have to kind of watch that to see what happens. He was participating, which was good, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how bad that injury was, because they were saying, oh, it might need surgery. There's all this hyperbole going on out there, but who the hell knows?
This is a torn labrum, supposedly, that he has. A torn labrum does not get better if it doesn't get surgically repaired. So, are they just gonna, I don't know, train or Art Rice through the whole off season, and then during the season? I don't know. They spent a number 12 pick on him, so they have to be able to use him as much as they possibly can, and he has to be healthy,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I gotta think he was medically cleared. If anything, that was probably just extremely precautionary. We know that Doc McKenzie and the Packers are the most, cautious medical staff in the league, probably.
Right.
But it's still a concern just to hear about that. You don't want the number 12th overall pick saying, oh, he might have this injury that might be whatever, yada, 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 because, Lord knows they need a guy who can step in and start. If you're picking at 12, he's got to be plug in, and he should make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't be a Kevin King, where he's missed half the games in his 2-year career thus far. So
no doubt,
can't be that way.
But his measurables and his stuff is off the charts. I mean, the combine stuff and all that. What was weird is he didn't. I mean, his college production, just stats wise, was kind of befuddling.
Yeah.
Because you'd figure he'd be so dominant,
Mm-hmm.
just based on everything that was going on there. But I also heard and saw some stuff where maybe that Michigan wasn't putting him in the best position to succeed, and he was getting double, even triple teamed a lot.
Triple-teamed.
I did, yeah. I mean, if you're getting triple teamed, that's going to be pretty tough. Double teams is hard enough, but if you're getting triple teamed, let's hope that, and I have confidence, that Pettin can do something with him. So that's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Darnell Savage, safety from Maryland. Well, the Packers picked him 21. So they their original pick was what was it, 30. And they got scared that there was going to be a run and he was going to get taken, so they traded both their fourth round picks to go up and get him. And now again, on paper and even based on his film, he looks like a ball hawk in safety. He looks like the real deal. Now I don't have it in front of me, but he was picked at a similar position in the first round as Clinton-Dix. But was his film never jumped off the screen. He was always, even at Alabama, he was always just pretty much solid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This
That's
guy,
fair.
Is that fair to say? From
yeah.
What I can call it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a position of need. I remember they really needed safety, so it was like on that draft, the stars aligned, and they just, he happened to be in the mid first round, and anybody from Alabama, they say, is typically plug and play and should be solid. But I don't want to compare him to Clinton-Dix. He's gone.
No.
But this guy looks like a ball hawk, and he looks like a difference maker. And if they're going to give up 2 draft picks to move up in the first round to get him, there's a reason for that. So what do you think? I like it.
I think of all of their picks, I think in the first year, I think he'll probably have the biggest difference, just because of the position that he plays and his flexibility. He's going to play pretty much everywhere in the back nine. He's going to play up on the line. He's going to be covering slot. That's how multifaceted and multidimensional this guy is. The funny thing that I read today was he's always been really quick and fast. In college, he ran like a 4.53 40 time. When he graduated last fall, so he's had this whole fall and winter to get ready for the NFL. He went to a trainer who specifically honed on his skills to pretty much get his speed and his agility back up. That's when he ran the 4.36 at the 40. So his trainer has said this guy has the skills to do whatever he wants to do. So can he be better? I mean, his skill coordinator, his scout pretty much said he could even run faster than the 4.36. So, but I guess on the field, I've watched a few clips of him, and I've watched one game against Wisconsin. he's always in the view of the game. Like if you're watching TV, he's always around the ball. Like the ball goes over here, he's there. And those are the guys like that we've needed, the Nick Collins types. I think he can be that influential. I did write a blog about it on our APP website. I think he can be a difference maker, but he has to do it now. But he has all the makings, and that's the thing that the theme of this draft is most of their picks have the makings to be really good ball players. It's just a matter of going out and doing it now.
Yeah, and they all look really athletic. Somebody asked me a question. I think I was on Instagram and a buddy of mine or whatever, and he knew I did this podcast. And he's like, "What do you think of the draft?" And I tried to just put it into one statement, if you will. And I said, I think the big thing that you're seeing is that the collective team speed and athleticism has gone way up. I mean,
yeah.
Ted was great in the first half of his tenure drafting and all that, but he loved try-hard guys. I'll say from like 2014-ish on, 2014 to like 2018 or 17. And they got slow. They just watch them, and comparing the collective team, the Packers, to whoever they'd be playing, you'd be like, God, they just look slow, And they're definitely getting athletes. Now, it's like the age-old question, though. Do you want a guy who is solid but has a ton of great film, but he might not have the best athleticism, or do you want a guy who's an off-the-charts freak athlete but may not have the stats to back it up? And these are like a tale of two different players. You got Gary, who's the guy he's got unbelievable, attributes and athletic gifts, but his college tape isn't really there, so to speak. But this Savage guy, he looks like he's got both, which is rare. You go look at they always say look at the film. You can look at how high he jumps, look how fast he does the cone drill, all this, and runs a 40. But then look at the film, and both back it up, his measurables and his film. So that's definitely good.
I think in football, you need to have two traits to be an outstanding, difference maker football player. Number one, you have to be the athlete, obviously, and number two, you have to be a football player. I think this guy fits both of them.
And he looks like he likes to hit too.
Yeah, for 197 pounds, and he's thrown his body around like, oh man. I mean, it's going to be exciting to see what he can do. Really is.
Clinton Dix didn't like to hit. He liked to run away.
Right.
The latter half of his tenure was brutal to watch. That guy ran away from contact practically. Ooh.
Right.
I already talked about him now.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first round, I like the Savage pick better simply because, like I said, it checked both those boxes.
Yep.
But when I was reading about Gary, I was getting more and more nervous at first because I was like, anywhere you put Nick Perry next to this guy, I'm like, no. But I mean, that's, I guess there wasn't, that was what all the pundits were just saying, and it's amazing, with anything, whether it's a game or the draft or whatever. But a lot of these national media guys, they only do know a little bit about the teams themselves. It's the beat guys and all that really do know a lot more. It's sometimes I'll see a comment from a national guy, and I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? So you continue to get that even with these draft nick guys.
Yep. No doubt.
Elgton Jenkins, number 44. He's I want to say he's a guard, but he was also a center.
He played center.
He's an interior lineman.
Yep.
And and he played in the SEC, correct?
Yeah, against the likes of Alabama. So.
There you go. So I think that they needed an offensive lineman. I think everybody pretty much thought at some point, somewhere, they're going to take one. And that's right around the time where the Packers typically take offensive linemen, is the mid rounds.
It was getting scary because I was listening to the draft as we were going down to Chicago, and they had 42, which Dalton Risner went to Denver, and then I think it was 43 or 44. Then they picked up Drew Lock. Denver did. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, who the heck is left? I'm thinking off the top of my head. I'm like, only Elgton Jenkins, and then they go to pick him. The one great stat that I heard about him is in the last 2 years, he played 1,700 snaps, only gave up 12 pressures and 1 sack. Half of the pressures and 1 sack were to Alabama. So
isn't that great? Sorry, I mean that's really good, but it also tells you it's like Alabama, they are a goddamn. I mean, talk about men among boys. Look, I'm sorry, I have to say this. For those who don't know me that well, I spent a lot of time, and look at me waving my finger, it's like I spent a lot of time in Georgia, and I even went to school for a little bit at UGA. I love my Georgia Bulldogs, but they break my heart more than anything I've ever seen. I mean, you think it's people, say entitled town. I've started to hear that entitled town, not title town,
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of truth to that, I guess, but it's like no one can break your heart like UGA. Do you remember when they were in the national championship game, UGA, and they were up
21?
They were up by 21 points, or was that in the SEC championship game or the?
No.
Alabama got them twice. I know that.
Yep.
And one was in the SEC, one was in the national championship. They benched. Sorry, I fucking hate Alabama, but I'm more disappointed in my Dogs.
Yeah, they definitely.
Sorry, I had to get that out.
The national championship game was very, very.
After the half when they were up 21. That was one where they benched the quarterback and brought in the other guy. He benched his starting quarterback Saban at halftime. I'm like, who has the balls to do that? And he does it, He's like the Belichick of the college football. But then I'm like, yes, finally the Ducks are going to win a national championship.
Right.
And then I watched that unfold, and it was like, I was like a little kid who stole my popsicle or something. It was just like the most, and I was like, I'm never watching them again. I'm sorry. That had been building up in me for a long time. And all my friends out there from either high school or back in college and from Georgia, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those Dogs, they will rip your heart out. And it's Alabama that always does it. So anyway,
we could say that about the Packers in the last decade. So
I know. I tell people, think about didn't want to do this, but we're doing it, right? Think the heartbreaking losses in the playoffs that the Packers had. But in a way, you think about it and you go, well, at least we have a lot of heartbreaking losses in the playoffs. We have so many, but we've been there, right? That's like the only thing I could think of. Then there's other teams out there that have never even won a Super Bowl. They never go to the playoffs, like the Lions or whatever. Some of these teams.
We don't want to be the Bears, which have heartbreaking losses all the damn time. So no, we got to get past that.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm sorry. I totally went off on a tangent there, but Alabama, they're like the Patriots to me. I love to hate them because of my dog. My dogs are like the Packers, and they even share the same gene, the shared trademark. There's so many synergies there.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that, but I'm sorry.
No, I just to close, I think Jenkins he'll start out at guard. I'm guessing he's going to start out at right guard. I've heard rumors that he's going to start at left guard, and challenge Lane Taylor, but I don't see why that would make sense. But, I mean, it sounds like they're going to put the best 5 linemen out there, and if he's one of them, I don't care where he starts, as long as he's better than what he's replacing. Put him out.
Oh, yeah. And it's a good thing. What used to be a position of absolute, oh, my God, what the hell are they going to do? Right. Well, they got Billy Turner, right?
Yep.
Is that his name, Billy Turner? And in free agency. And obviously they got the kind of, it's just like, you hate to say it's like a gift, like an extra draft pick, Cole Madison. And so it's like what was an absolute, dumpster fire now actually looks quite promising. And that's going to be a position battle to watch in training camp. So good stuff there.
Yes, sir.
Tight end. They drafted a tight end, 3rd round, Jace Sternberger from Texas A&M, I believe. I didn't know anything about this guy. I've actually watched a decent amount of film on him after this, and he looks very, very intriguing. He's not the fastest, but he looks pretty damn solid and pretty athletic. Got to work on blocking. Everybody always says, blocking a tight end in the NFL. It's like these guys in college aren't doing any blocking, and who they're blocking are not the best offensive linemen. So it's a whole different ball of wax. I like the pick, but look, let's be honest. Is that guy going to come in and just tear it on fire? It's one of the hardest positions in the league to do. It's like a redshirt year for every tight. You look at even like Gronkowski's rookie year stats; they were pedestrian, and that was Gronkowski. So I like the pick. He's got a lot of upside, but I'd be stunned if he's a difference maker. I think he'll come in and he'll learn, but it's going to be, you got to wait until. I mean, what do you think? I don't want to pour cold water on the pick because I think it's a good pick, but a lot of work to do. It's just a hard position, and you got an all new offense and all of these things. It's just
I'll call it. I think he's going to put up like 400 yards, maybe about 4 TDs. I think the thing that we're
Which
underestimating.
for a Packer tight end, that's all pro numbers.
Well, then Jimmy Graham should have been there last year then, because he had over 500 yards.
Sad Trump.
No,
it's been a dumpster fire of a position, as we know, since Finley went down.
Well, we're beyond that, and we're moving on.
Well said.
You know, we don't know how this new regime is going to play itself out. I think we talked about this via Messenger. We were saying, no receiver has done anything in the McCarthy era in his first year, and no tight end. How do we know? How do we know now? Because we actually have athletes, and we actually have a coaching staff that I think is going to scheme these guys to be successful. That's how we're reading it right now.
It's a whole new era, baby.
It's not just line up and beat your guy with phenomenal talent. Now we're going to have phenomenal talent that's going to be schemed open. So I'm excited to see how they're going to make this work out. This is where I think Jace Sternberger can really, in his rookie year, he's not going to break the league or he's not going to break anything, but I mean, he's going to be a complimentary guy that will get open. I think, like you said, I think we've seen that he's not the fastest guy, but he's smooth. He's got football speed, know, so that's a big difference. And I think where he can make some strides in his rookie year is finding holes in zone defenses, because every defense plays zone these days, and I think he's smart enough to work himself into those holes. And I think the easiest part of any tight end when he comes into the league is learning how to block. I mean, it's just a matter of hand placement and being technically sound.
He wasn't much of a blocker in college, so I don't
know.
So what? Ooh, touché. That's what he has to say about that. I think his ceiling this year is pleasant surprise, which I'll take. God, I keep thinking, talking about how the collective team speed, went way up under Gutekunst with his picks and stuff. Remember when Richard Rodgers trundling across the line on these? Oh my word! I mean, Richard Rodgers was a great dude and all that, but it was like watching a guy with, cinder blocks tied to his feet and a fridge on his back. It was painful how slow that stuff was. So this will be very much needed. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point though, that it's not just a new offensive, it's a new coaching staff, but it's a new era in the league, so these old, kind of thoughts and ways of doing things, like where a rookie can't come in and make an impact,
throw them away.
Maybe that's gone,
Maybe.
And maybe it got league wide, not just Packer type thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and what you kind of alluded to it. I'm trying to describe it the best way I can, but it's like, you did know that under Ted and Mike, that when they would bring in a receiver in the second round or bring whatever, you automatically knew it's going to be at least a year for that guy. Period. End of story. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's gone, and that'd be nice. I mean, and where I'm kind of getting with that is, there's always this thing where it's like, oh, he hits the rookie wall, or we're throwing too much at him. Is that just, a lot of times I think that's just coach speak. And again, I'm just some stupid podcasting guy, just a big fan. But if a guy's got talent and he can make a difference, get his ass out there. Mm-hmm. I almost get tired of hearing he's a rookie, he's going to have to wait, and he's going to have to, and it's like, why?
There's only one position where I would say throwing yourself to the wolves in your first year is detrimental, and that's quarterback, just because you have so much to learn and so much to process. There's just so much going on. It's a position that you have to have just everything going right. That's one position where I think as a rookie, you're better off just kind of, playing that secondary role, or, just sitting on the bench, kind of taking everything in. I think that's a smart way, just like Aaron Rodgers did. That worked out well for him, but every other position you should be put out there and see what you can do,
People forget, Rodgers didn't look good his first couple of years. His first year, remember how shitty he looked? He looked.
I mean, when he was a full-time starter, or
no, when he first got in the league, not full-time.
But he didn't do anything. He played one game against the Patriots, and that was.
I mean, when he would come in, like either in garbage time, or you'd see him in the preseason, his first couple of years, from 2005 until like 2000, the first 2 years, if you will. I remember when he did come in, you're like, what the hell is this? He didn't look good. So and this is Aaron frickin' Rodgers. So yeah, it's I mean, obviously he fell into the good situation, all that with Favre, but I agree with you on that. I would be so happy if you got some of these rookies and they could make an immediate difference for the right reasons. Don't tell me what this guy Belichick. This is Belichickism. I don't know if you ever heard it, but he's always saying, "Don't tell me what he can't do. Tell me what he can do."
Can do.
You know, there's something to that kind of thought process. And the head coach is as old as I am, so that'll help. He's just a young buck.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Imagine me coaching the fucking Packers. Scary thought.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of F-bombs. That's all we know.
There probably are anyway.
Probably a lot of losses too.
Memory losses?
No, well, memory losses on the field. I mean, we're talking. It'd be bad. Okay. Yeah. So next pick was Kingsley. Is it Kingsley Keke?
Yeah.
I'll be perfectly honest. This is where my my knowledge of some of these picks really tapers off. Defensive lineman. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot. So I will defer to you.
Yeah.
I didn't do my homework. My dog ate it.
He was a 2-year starter at Texas A&M. Same as Jace Sternberger. Played on the defensive line, and the thing with him that I think is really gonna show once he actually gets out and gets the pads on here is he's got great rush ability. And what I mean by that is he just seems to know where to put his hands to get it past the offensive lineman to put
and
it.
He's a defensive end. Sorry.
Yes. Well, he played mostly inside between the tackles. Played some on the tackle, but he was mostly inside 3 technique. So shooting gaps, shooting the gap between the guard and tackle, and so on and so forth. So the thing with him, he played over 300 pounds in college. He lost like 15, 20 pounds in the off season until he got to the NFL Combine. But there is a play, and I in my blog on our APP website, I put a link to his play where he did this spin move around this guy in the SEC of all leagues. And he just made this guy look like an absolute chump. So I think his potential is completely untapped. I think he's like clay. He could be molded into something here. He could be another exciting pick. And down the road, I think he's got the potential to be a Pro Bowler. But like I said, he's got to actually do on the field. So
cool. Anytime you get to see somebody make somebody look like a fool, I'm interested.
Yeah.
You had me at hello. Nice. Kader Hollman, cornerback. I can't remember what school he played at. It was a smaller school, but he seems really intriguing. Packers are always drafting cornerbacks. It seems like they drafted at least 1 or 2 high, if not just in the draft for forever. I don't know a whole lot about him, although it looks like he has a lot of potential. And was he a 5th or 6th round pick?
6.
I mean, anything after what you'd say the 3rd round is kind of 3rd round, and it really is. I don't want to say it's a crapshoot, but it's a crapshoot. It's the difference in talent is so minute from there. I read from someone somewhere, it was some draft thing on Twitter or something that basically said after the first 10 picks, a lot of time. When I say 10 picks, like the top 10 of the whole damn thing,
right?
There's that's like. It's a significant drop off even from there. It's the concentrated, the really high picks, and then everything from there really just tapers off that much, which is interesting. I mean, I would have thought at least the first 2 rounds, but hey, what do I know? So 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, you're hoping to get maybe a couple starters in there.
Mm-hmm.
See what sticks, get some special teams guys, but that's, so I guess we'll see. It's all based on potential there. You're not plugging and playing. You're looking for diamonds rough, and you're looking for stuff like that, I guess. So,
and that's where I think this Kader Hollman falls into. He's a lunch pail guy. He did not get any scholarships when he got out of high school. Don't really know why, but he was a guy that worked on loading docks, unloading trucks. He did all the grunt work while he was going out and trying to recruit himself to all these colleges, sending videos of his high school play and stuff like that. And then Toledo actually was very intrigued by his video, brought him in as a walk-on, non-preferred walk-on. So he pretty much had to pay his whole ride to Toledo, and then earned a scholarship after his sophomore year. And he was a very good player at Toledo. So I think the makeup is there. He's got the work ethic. Obviously, if he, walked on and got drafted in the NFL, he's got some talent and some work ethic that is unparalleled. The thing with him is he's very raw. He's pretty much right now just a mere corner where he pretty much just covers the receiver that he's on. Doesn't have very many talents as far as playing in zone or playing off the receiver. So he's definitely somebody who's, I don't think he's going to contribute this year. If he makes a roster, it'd be practice squad where he can learn and hone his skills. But the talent is there. The guy ran a 4.4. A lot of coaches in college ranks were very high on him, spoke very well of him. So that was a kind of a luxury pick because they do have decent depth at cornerback, but it's not great. So if he can really learn and hone his skill and even contribute this year, I think that'd be a very big thing for the Packers. So,
yeah, I mean, not much else you can say there, I suppose, but cool. I mean, it's interesting. Every now and then, like you look at a guy you had mentioned before, I think when we were talking about safeties, Nick Collins. Remember when Nick Collins went to school?
Was it Bethune-Cookman?
Bethune-Cookman.
Bethune-Cookman.
I remember when they picked him. I go, is that a high school league? What conference is Bethune-Cookman? God.
It's the U's B team.
Yeah,
the U.
Well, you also think of what kind of competition they're going against, if they're in the MAC or the WAC or whatever, but I digress. Nick Collins is one of my all-time favorite Packers of all time. That boy was, talk about cut down in his prime. We love you, Nick. I love you, Nick.
God. It's just so sad because I think he could have had a potentially
he would have been a
Pro Bowl,
a Hall of Fame,
or a Hall of Fame, excuse me,
NFL Hall of Fame.
Very, very, very. He had the potential to be there. He was working trending his way to the Hall of Fame career, and then
he took a while to develop. Remember, I mean, he came into his own late 2009, but obviously he went gangbusters in the Super Bowl year. But it took him good 4 years to develop. Yeah. He didn't just happen overnight. But yeah, he was just. I loved him, man. I miss him so much.
Yep.
All righty.
Me too.
Dexter Williams, running back. He was from Notre Dame.
Correct.
Is that right? Yep. Yeah, he seems really intriguing too. I don't know did he have like off the field stuff going on a little bit, I think.
Yeah. One of his issues was something that he wasn't solely related in or involved in. Another one was a marijuana issue, I think. So.
Well, marijuana I could give a rat's ass about, to be honest.
Who cares?
What was the other one?
It was undisclosed. It was something with the team, but he wasn't solely involved in whatever it was. He was kind of like a second-hand person. But yeah, if he was smoking marijuana and he was a good ball player, legalize marijuana.
Jesus, we went full political.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
Sorry.
It's not political anymore, is it?
No, it's not to me. It is.
I don't think it is anymore, really.
No,
I mean, it is in Wisconsin, I guess, but
it isn't
nowhere else.
Yeah, it isn't. It is in certain spots, but to me, I mean, it's not my thing, obviously, or at all. But I mean, I could care less. Think about, damn it, no politics, but yeah, I know you got
30
me.
seconds.
You
got 30 seconds.
Go. I know, really, but seriously, think about the incarceration and convictions being overturned and all that kind of stuff. How fast? This is what's going to annoy me. You know what's happening. You know what's coming. God, shouldn't do this, but I'm going to. Think about all the big corporations that are going to make money off this. Think about like R.J. Reynolds when they start something like that. They're going to start selling and profiting off marijuana. They're going to in a blink of an eye. Something's going to happen there, and that just makes me Sad. So anyway, enough of that. Absolute Packer podcast, not Absolute Cannabis podcast.
You know what?
That would be an epic shirt, though. Could you
know what?
imagine that?
Right. And we would instantly have,
ACP. Yeah.
We would have 10 times more viewers.
Oh, Jesus Christ! What if I created a monster?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, that's funny. So last pick, Ty Summers, linebacker, TCU.
Yes.
Here I am saying I'm getting political. I'm saying all these edgy things. He's the try-hard white linebacker. That's kind of
you heard that from Michael Rodney. I know that.
Maybe I did, but they picked a linebacker. But I shouldn't. I know. That wasn't very nice, Andy. But I don't know. What can you say? Let me say this. Sorry. Let me say this.
Go right on.
I've often said the Packers just don't value the inside linebacker position. I don't think they do a whole lot. But as I say that, the way things are changing, they're drafting guys like Josh Jones. They're trying to create, I don't know if it's the league or just the Packers or everything, but they're trying to create this new hybrid position that is in between a safety and a linebacker, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I guess they don't really value it. They're not drafting a guy who's specifically a super athletic inside linebacker. They want more speed. They want more pass defense capabilities, which I totally get. It's proving for the Packers to find that to be very difficult. I don't know about other teams,
This is a league trend. We start from Mark Barron, DL Buchanan. Those are the few that come to my head. But this is a league trend where they want a safety to be a linebacker that will, allow them to be able to cover receivers, running backs, tight ends more efficiently. So it's a hybrid position. The Packers are doing it. They aren't the first ones to do it, and they won't be the last. This is the way the game is trending because teams want to get as many receivers out there. So the way you combat that is you take your big, bulky linebackers off the field, put a safety in that can cover all over the place and can cover anybody. That's the way it's going.
It's the way it's going. Are we there yet? And the Packers just haven't found the right position guy because it looks like they haven't. I mean, Josh Jones has been kind of a disappointment. They got Oren Burks, but I don't know what he is yet either. He had a pretty disappointing rookie season. I mean, Blake Martinez, he's more of your typical, he's kind of the, what do you want to say, the 2 down or the 3 down or whatever, or 2 down. Yeah, the run stopper. I mean, he's good and solid, but he is, he is more of the old hat, if you will, the old hat inside linebacker.
Why did you say try hard for this guy?
That's a lot of the the track record.
What are you doing to me? Yeah,
that's a lot of the track record on him. What you read about him when he came out of high school, he was a quarterback. So he wasn't recruited solely to be a linebacker. Rice came along and said, "Hey, could you do this?" But then TCU came along and said, "We want you to play linebacker. We don't want you to play quarterback." And he did fairly well. He's a try-hard white guy, if you want to call him that. I don't think that's a fair assessment of what he can do. He's a football player. He reminds me of the old Chris Spielman days. He hits hard. He tackles well. He was the quarterback of the defense. And he runs a 4.51 in the 40. So the skill set is there. The speed is there. The talent's there. He just doesn't have a lot of what you would call desirable football traits for a linebacker.
It's what it is. To your point, it's the
sexy.
Not all the measurables, not the super fastest, not the super strongest. I'll say more of the mold of a traditional inside linebacker. That was kind of why I went off on that small tangent about how they're moving to this hybrid safety kind of a thing.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that's the best way to put it. And I'm not being very diplomatic with it. I'm sorry I need to do better.
Why are you apologizing? Stop
because I need to do better. Well, I don't even know the guy, and I'm pigeonholing him into this thing, and he deserves better than that. So Ty,
I don't know anything about him, so I was really just not understand. I wasn't following really.
I was like I said, my description was not very diplomatic. Is what it was.
No.
Well, I didn't think it was offensive. I mean, whatever. It was. I was just trying to figure out whether you're saying his football skills were not good, or whether his stats were not good, or or none of it was good. And I appreciate the explanation, the additional info. It was good.
Good. I didn't trigger you, did I?
I'm what?
Triggered?
You know what? Sorry. Here, I'm off the rails. Jesus. My daughter, I picked her up from school today, and she used that phrase. She's my 9-year-old daughter. She's like, I was talking to this girl, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, and she got all triggered. And I'm like, what did you just say?
She all growing up now. Oh, man, that's good.
I'm like, oh, my God. Because I do not say that.
Daddy's proud.
Not really.
Come on.
I'm the opposite. I was very surprised, and I had to do kind of a double take, and I was like, man, these kids, it's crazy.
It's like cell phone triggered. What the? No?
I basically told her, I said, you know what it is? I go, it's when people get upset, okay? That's basically.
Dad's so old.
I know, I'm an old bag. You know, the best part is, I'm sure you guys like this, I just walk myself right into all these situations. It's not like I put myself right in there. I put my foot in the bucket all the time.
Is this story going to appear in volume 2?
Ooh.
Volume 2 of my book? No. If there's a volume 2, it's probably going to be me, and I'll be dead. So, let's hope there's no volume.
So I mean, did you just put Jeremy and I on the hook to write about you being dead? Because I don't know how that works.
On the hook?
I mean, so if you're dead,
Yes.
do you already have it written? I'm so confused about the dead thing.
Yeah, explain that one.
Well, I'll be dead, so there's not much to say, right?
It's just a 1-page PDF.
He dead.
$100.
Available for digital download. One little piece of it's a Post-it note. He did. Yeah. Oh my God. Andy, let's just try and get this back on track. We mentioned that Kenny Clark is younger than 2 of the Packers draft picks. Still, it's incredible to say, but hey, I'll take it.
And who's older? Kadar Hollman and Elgton Jenkins.
That's right.
The 2 picks that are older than him.
Yeah. Rookie minicamp completed today. They had a minicamp, was it sometime last week as well? That was one where, they practiced for like a half an hour. I mean, the media's in there for a little bit. It's, they're installing this new offense. They're not going to show a whole lot to the public and whatnot. But from that minicamp or the minicamps I've seen, everybody was contributing except for Sternberger. I think he had an illness, from what I understand. Yeah, I mean, what can you take from these mini camps?
I think
Rookie mini camps, right?
I forgot what you called these types of practices where
I'm sure I was a term of endearment, I'm sure.
You had a perfect one-liner, and it was, oh man, I'm about to go back and watch our episodes because you termed it so perfectly. It was an Andyism that will never
Andyism.
It'll never be forgotten.
Was this pre-coli or post?
It'll never be forgotten, but we can't remember what it is.
No, really.
Perfect.
Was it seriously though? Was it before I got sick or after?
I think it was before you got sick.
Because I have
to guess, but it was one of those, like, what are they out there, show ponying or something like that? But it was good. Show
ponying. Wow. If that's it, I like it.
It wasn't that, but something in that.
I'll never forget when, speaking of losing the memory and all that, when I was watching the opening game last year in the hospital with my dad, and it was Packers versus Bears. That it was that fourth quarter comeback that Rodgers had. But in the beginning, when they're bringing out the players, and I could barely remember anybody, and they brought out Devontae Adams, and they had just signed him, I think the year before, in 2017, wasn't it, that they signed him to the extension? Anyway,
I forgot.
Anyway, I forgot that Devontae Adams had cleaned up his drops, and he was a hell of a lot better, and he was basically a Pro Bowler. And I heard they signed him to a contract extension when we're watching the game, and I go, what are they doing? Why did they sign an extension? He's terrible. Jeez. I totally forgot his whole career. And then I was like, oh, he's good now. He's good. Oh, okay, he's good.
God.
That was funny.
That's
I was all up in arms. My dad had to tell me. He was like, "Oh no, he's he doesn't drop the ball anymore. He's like a Pro Bowler." I'm like, "What? Oh, okay. I don't know. Well, did you have anything else that you wanted to elaborate on minicamp? I mean, again,
No.
there's not much there, is there really? I mean, you get
No. And the thing that the CBA only allots you 10 padded practices in the off season. So there's really not a lot you can do besides just implement the new scheme and game plan, and go through it. There's really not a lot you can do because you can't do a lot of football skills because you're not able to put the pads on. So,
yeah. I hope we can find out what I was calling it. I'm sure it was something.
Oh, it was good. It was good.
Whoop. I'm sure it was something great.
You there?
Yeah, I
Okay.
accidentally hit Siri. In the upper corner there. That was brutal. Man, I'll tell you what, this is going to be in the you may want to burn this when we're done. I'm just kidding. OTAs coming in late May. I mean, it's kind of like mini camps, right? It's like, what are you getting? But they're installing a new offense, so hopefully we'll see more of that. We'll get some more vets there. I got to think Rodgers is going to be at everything. I mean, you would think because they got a new offense being installed.
Right.
But
and he has to be the leader too, so the leader has to be there.
Yeah, I like everything I've seen and heard from him since LaFleur's come in. So, someone was pissing and moaning. I think that he was out of town for the Kentucky Derby, and he wasn't in town for Ted's going in the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
but who cares? Actually, I don't know if that was on here. That Ted going in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, good point. Yeah,
we should probably talk about that. Yeah, I think I could bump a couple of other things that were in there if we're okay with that. But
well deserved.
Ted, I look at Ted. He had a kind of a tale of two halves of his career.
Mm-hmm.
The first half of his career with the Packers, he was top 3 GM in the league. He did great. It was basically from the NFC Championship debacle in Seattle. Everything after that, it just steadily went downhill. I don't want to harp on the negative though. I mean, he started to have some health issues, which people thought he may have, and it turns out he did. And we kind of know everything that happened there, with just moving on from McCarthy and all that kind of stuff. But looking back at his track record from when he, like I said, hard to argue. He did great, and everybody says Rodgers fell in his lap. Horse shit. Rodgers did not fall in his lap. Who's going to make that pick? Took a lot of guts, especially his first pick, overall pick as GM. So you got to give him credit for Rodgers.
100%.
I don't buy that for a second where it just fell in his lap or anything like that, because 23 other teams would have done it, right?
Right.
But it won Super Bowl. I think it's all that. I think they could have done more, but at the same time, I think looking back, especially over time, it's going to be, we're going to look at Ted a heck of a lot more positively than negatively. And so it's highly deserved, richly deserved, however you want to put it. And I just hope that I saw a couple like clips online on Twitter, and he looked like he was doing pretty well. I mean, I guess who knows what his actual health is, but you hear all the rumors and whatnot. I just hope he's doing okay. And is he still a scout with the Packers?
He's technically still employed.
Okay.
As a senior advisor.
Okay.
So he's basically Goot's, I don't know, water boy, towel boy,
try hard guy.
Try. There you go.
Oh, poor.
No, I don't know why, but I was being bashed on Twitter because I don't appreciate Ted Thompson. I think that's such horseshit. I appreciate everything that he's done because obviously he brought us a Super Bowl title. He brought us Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks of all times, and brought us a team every single year that competed for at least the NFC crown, if not a Super Bowl. The like you said, he's a tale of two halves. So the first half was great. The second half, not so. after the brain drain, as you call it, Andy, of Schneider and Dorsey and McKenzie left. I just think that he had the three guys that were very, that worked well together and had the right mix of whatever to bring a competitor, to bring a winner here. And when they left, Ted, I don't know why. I just don't.
They all left
in
succession. They were like boom, boom, boom. It wasn't like they left years apart from each other. It was like 1, 2, 3.
They did not replenish those guys either.
No, exactly.
Guys left. They did not replenish them. So exactly, it was all Ted. It was all Ted. And unfortunately, I don't think it worked out very well for him in the second half. I think it ended the way it should have. They didn't just throw him out to the street. I think it was a very good gesture. I think you have to treat him with a little bit of respect, and you have to appreciate what he's done. I do appreciate what he's done. Yeah. Much to people's chagrin. I don't know why people think I don't like him, but I do think that Goot, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't done enough yet to determine his outcome, his fate. But Ted Thompson, I'm very, very happy that he was here. He brought us a lot of happy moments, and he deserved the honor to be in the Packers Hall of Fame. So it was well deserved.
Yeah, I was thinking about the other day. I mean, hypotheticals in the NFL can be dangerous, but imagine if they had not melted down in Seattle. They go to the Super Bowl and they won. Things would be that. Again, I never really thought about that until the other day, and when I heard that Ted was going in and all that, I'm going, wow, 2 Super Bowls instead of 1 is a huge deal. And the team itself, you could tell it just everything corroded after that loss was a franchise shattering loss. It wasn't just a team; it was a franchise. So had that not happened, again, all hypotheticals, but it would have been interesting to see. I mean, it could have been. It's amazing what that loss did, is what I'm saying. That loss was the beginning of the end, and it just destroyed.
Yes. Well,
it's destroyed everything.
I wouldn't say it was the beginning of the end. I think it was the end. The beginning of the end started with San Francisco in 2012. When Colin Kaepernick ran all over us. And then what did we do in 2013? We draft Nick Perry and put him at outside linebacker. So, we didn't do anything to rectify the problem in front of us, which was San Francisco. And then San Francisco was quickly demised after their Super Bowl loss to Baltimore, and then it was Seattle. But I think the beginning started with San Francisco, and the end was Seattle in 2014. I think that started everything started to slip down after 2014. But I think that wasn't the beginning. That was the end.
That's interesting. Well, you're more of a Debbie Downer than I am.
I'm just a realist. I mean, San Francisco 2 years in a row just ran over us like stepchildren. Yeah. I mean, Colin Kaepernick had career years or career games.
I think Colin Kaepernick owes his contract extension to Dom Capers specifically.
Packers. Yeah.
His stats against the Packers were like, oh my God, Packers were his bitch. But but yeah, like I said, time, like anything, even with the Favre thing, it's like time heals all wounds. So when you look at Ted, I think people are going to definitely look at him fondly. But yeah, that when you mentioned the brain drain, that was a hell of. I mean, you lost 3 very good talent evaluators. Basically, it felt like that happened in less than 2 years. 3 guys around him, and they didn't really replace him, which is odd. But yeah, I mean, he had some misses, but then you look at some of those picks. I mean, Nick Collins, Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson. Just look
Greg Jennings.
He had
his credit.
Man, and the offensive line in the mid rounds and just all that. I mean, he was great.
Yeah. Brian Bulaga was a very integral plug in their 2010 Super Bowl year because if you think about it, he went into the year. It wasn't going to be their starter, but he played all 16 games, and he solidified that right side. So Ted Thompson made some great picks. I mean, you cannot say he did not.
No, agreed.
And you know what? On a closing note on that too, the brain drain. Dorsey out in Cleveland. Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gone all in. Gone
no doubt.
all in. He has put all his chips in the middle, and if they don't get a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, there, I mean, Cleveland is probably in the realm of Detroit's, fandom. I think their fans are just craving for something. They want to win. They just need to win. And Cleveland has done everything to win, and now they just have to do it. So kudos
to
Dorsey
right there, because you're basically going 0 to 100 there, because they haven't even made. They haven't even made the playoffs in forever.
No, but you went out and you.
Oh, I know.
You went unconventional and drafted Baker Mayfield, who was probably not everybody's number one pick, and they did. And then what he do in his rookie year? He came out and he led all rookies in touchdown passes in 27. So, he looks like the real deal. The team so far, I mean, they got Odell Beckham. I mean, you just go down the list of the weapons that they have there. And then they have a new coach, new staff, new front office. Things are exciting in Cleveland. They have a lot to look forward to there.
Yeah, I think to your point, I mean, they're going to burn out quick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of threw that in.
No, you should have.
The Ted Thompson thing, sorry.
Yep.
I think, next thing, there's other minicamp stuff. I don't know if we necessarily have to go over a ton of that in detail. So, Tyreek Hill. Yeah. Now, is he running back or is he
wide receiver?
Wide receiver. Okay, sorry. Shows how much I follow the rest of the NFL teams. No, he's on the Chiefs, right?
Yep.
Chiefs wide receiver. I guess there's some domestic violence stuff going on there. Something with his child and his girlfriend. It looks nasty from what I've seen. It looks really bad. Like, based on what I've seen, he should probably be kicked out of the league. But I mean, again, that's based on what I'm seeing on social media. Is that I'm just saying with it, take it for what it's worth, grain of salt. It looks real bad though.
It looks real bad, and in the track record for domestic dispute or domestic abuse is not good with the NFL. I mean, we go from Kareem Hunt to Ray Rice, everything that has been highly visible, highly publicized, and really not a lot of punishment. This is going to be a very interesting one because I think the league has been kind of put on the pedestal now as far as domestic abuse goes. And it's going to be interesting to see how they react to this one, because now they have official audio that have him pretty much saying, I want to beat the hell out of my wife or his girlfriend, and that he wanted to take a belt to his kid. So this one really kind of, I think we messaged about this one. This one is going to be a deal breaker for me. If the league doesn't do anything about this and the proof is there that he actually did what he did and they don't do anything, I'm going to be very irate to the point where I might not even follow the NFL anymore, because I'm giving them the grace, the good graces with Ray Rice, how they handled that with Kareem Hunt, how they handled that. I think now the trifecta, Tyreek Hill, they have to do what's right. And if it is proven that he, did what he did to his kid and to his girlfriend wife, he should be unemployed.
Yeah.
No questions asked. No questions
that should
asked.
Be kicked out of the league.
But, the problem with the NFL is they're all about what's going to make them money. And what's going to make them money is talented players like Tyreek Hill and Pat Mahomes. Those are the kind of guys that are the benchmark for the future here. So is that going to override what they should politically do correctly? I don't know. We'll see. But if it comes out that he did what he did, he should not be a football player anymore.
One thing I heard too, that they were saying, it talks about the Browns. Apparently they're saying if they get released, teams like the Browns it's in Dorsey's MO that he's picking up troubled players too. So there's this weird, if he doesn't get banned permanently, there's this weird, kind of moral weird ground that these slippery slope, for lack of a better term, that some of these, because the team knows that some other team's going to scoop up and get him. And there's the quote usual suspects of teams that may do that. And apparently the Browns are one of them. And then, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but geez, apparently that is a real fear.
Well,
no,
you're right, because they went out and got Kareem Hunt, who's his well publicized. He has to be taken off of the commissioner's exempt list in order to play. So that's the next step. If they take him off, which they've had video evidence of him beating a woman, Dorsey's got he's going to have to answer all that, and he has. He's pretty much said, "Hey, I'm all about second chances." So does Tyreek get that? I hope not. I hope he doesn't get a second chance at all.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, do you get fired from other jobs when things like that happen? I mean, you might if you go to prison, or if you get run into legal difficulties. But do you get fired from other jobs? And is that a good thing for the woman involved if he does? Like he loses his job. Okay, well, then she's not going to get any money out of that deal either. Then so
right, but you have to do what's right.
Well, I don't know what's right. That's what I'm saying. Like, there might be a greater good for her, for him to not be fired. I mean, there should be probably some legal repercussions.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I really don't know that somebody should be fired for that.
Well, professional athletes in general always have they're always put on a pedestal, and they have the glass shoe on. I mean, they are, if it's you and me or Andy, for example, right now we're not sitting here doing this podcast if we did what he did. We're combing through the legal system. So, do they get an unfair advantage? Yeah, they do. I truly do.
Yeah.
Because we don't get that. Anybody that's watching this podcast that's just a regular Joe, we don't get that benefit. So that's why I'm a little bit harder, a little bit of a harsher critic of these guys that are professional athletes and do what they do and abuse the system and then get second chances. We don't get that, because if we try to come back out into the workforce, we're lucky to get a minimum wage job.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's quite a political topic, but it's a very touchy topic with me, because I have no.
You hurt kids. Yeah.
For abusing kids and women, I just have none. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just I feel strongly about it too. I just don't want. I don't want to let somebody. I feel like in some ways it almost lets them off the hook, though. Like I don't want to react that way.
Mm-hmm.
Where it makes him into almost like he's a victim then, like I don't want him to be some kind of martyr.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And to be like, well, I can't pay child support now. I can't do, whatever. I don't know. I always worry about the unintended consequences of things. And, that's, I don't know. It's not a political show.
Yeah, we turned it around on this. I mean, I'll say this, as you guys are talking, and I'm thinking, and it's like, it's hot button topics, and it's like, everybody deserves due process, and everybody, it's you're innocent until proven guilty, that kind of thing. And I'm not, it's with social media and all these, now, that's why it is a slippery slope, and you talk about having a fair or unfair advantage, if you will, Jeremy. I mean, these guys, they can afford insane, legal teams.
Look at Robert Kraft.
Exactly. Look no further. You get the justice that you can afford, to a point, right, wrong, or indifferent. Right. I would say wrong. It shouldn't be that way. But if you can have, take on a million billable hours, or $1 million in billable hours, versus us who could never do that.
Right.
So in essence, that's Elliot. I can't hear you. Sorry, I see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted
okay.
myself.
No, he was probably screaming obscenities, I imagine.
Well,
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But hopefully that makes sense. You can tell I'm
Okay.
really treading
Yep.
lightly on this because I don't want to, again, convict anybody on a podcast in little old Green Bay
No.
about Wisconsin, But at the same time, yeah, I mean, I'm a father. We're all fathers, all three of us. When you talk about kids and things like that, that's beyond horrible. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, I think we tried to all three of us discuss that in a manner that's fitting of the situation. But yeah, it's kind of a melting pot of everything that's going on, in America in a way, because money's making is driving everything. You just know it from every angle, and unfortunately, that's the cynical reality, if you want to call it that.
Good point.
We got a couple other topics on here, like 3 or 4, but we're running real long. This one's going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, an hour and a half. I think. How about we real quick? We got Bears floundering through kickers, which is just funny, and I think we can just say it couldn't happen to a better team. So I think we'll just move on from that.
Yes.
So yeah, Bears still suck, as they say.
Bears still suck. The Bears still suck.
Most improved NFC North team. I don't know. With drafts, it's like I always say you got to give them 2 years, right?
Yep.
Sure, you can talk about and try and grade them as best you can. When I look at, just me personally, if I go down team by team, starting with the Packers, I think they got better. How much? Who knows? I mean, you got so many things in flux: new coach, new scheme, new all that. I don't know if they're the best team in the league, but you look at the Vikings. I think the Vikings are on the way down. I think they royally screwed themselves with the Kirk Cousins contract and all that. They were in for the short.
Yeah,
I can't see them.
They're punching above their weight class before.
Yeah, and I mean that Kirk Cousins contract was just, geez Louise. So the Vikings, who knows? The Bears, I
feel kind of the same thing about them.
I do too. They've been floundering for just kind of swimming around in kind of mediocrity. Not terrible, but not whatever. The Lions, I have no freaking idea. I don't. What's going on with the Lions?
Nobody does.
They always seem like they're going to be amazing at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
I'm always the most worried about them.
I mean, well, if I had to, I don't know the other collective rosters all that well. I mean, I know that there's the Bears collectively. I think they're young and somewhat talented, but they got some other areas that are just a mess. Not just kicker. Trubisky, they got a quarterback on a rookie contract. If they can capitalize on that, that'd be good. Who knows how good Trubisky is? They got some other, pretty good players. I think they got a pretty good defense. The Vikings, like I said, I think they had their shot last year or the year before, and they didn't get it. They went for it, they didn't get it. So, who the hell?
Well,
Packers, I don't know. That probably didn't help much the way I explained it, but that's just kind of me thinking out loud.
No, I think I threw this kind of out there as a trick question, or just to kind of see where our minds were at. But I think most improved, I really have to put the Packers in there because they were the worst team in the NFC North. They have a new coaching staff. They have a solid draft class. They went out there and they went all in with free agency, and they have Aaron Rodgers healthy that hopefully that they're going to protect with a better offensive line. I truly believe they're the most improved team. You can't say the Bears because they were 12-4 and won the North. They're going to take a dip this year. I think the Vikings are definitely overrated, and I think the Lions are they throw the glitter out there before they actually play the game. They are always glim and glamour. I feel sorry for them because I always feel like they have good fans and they have good talent, but
exactly.
They just
That'd
never.
Be a good T-shirt. The Lions. ... I feel sorry for them. I like that.
Yeah, I think the Packers have the most improved team. I think there's no question there in the North. There's no question just because of what they were and what they are now, and they haven't played a game. I understand that, but what they've done to improve themselves to get hopefully back to the playoffs, I think they've done that.
Okay, that's fair. What do you think, Elliot?
Yeah.
Ditto. Yeah. It's
Ditto.
Yeah, I mean, that's all true. We were at the bottom, and I don't know that we're at the top, but
Right.
Mm-hmm.
the delta is there. It's the most improved.
Yes.
No question. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So, real quick, it's kind of I don't want to drop a big poll question on it or whatever, but yes or no? You think Aaron Rodgers is going to wreck the league this year?
Hope so.
I don't think he's going to wreck the league, but I think he'll put himself back on the pedestal as a top quarterback in the league.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he's going to. He reminds me so much of like a Michael Jordan, where he takes it's every slight. He's an ass. he's an ass, but in a good way. It's like the traits you want. I think he's going to come out and he's going to freaking be MVP level. I'm not saying he'll be MVP.
Yeah.
But the only thing I think that could stop him is freaking injury.
Mm-hmm.
Not the scheme. I think he's too smart. He's just too damn football sound to struggle with the scheme. That's just my own thought. So that's why, and I think he's going to be hell bent after what happened last year. So barring injury, I think he's going to be freaking. I mean, he's going to be out for blood.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I think if there's one player that thrives in turmoil or thrives in adversity, I think it's Aaron. I think he's prepared for that. He's trained for that. He's bred for that. I think he thrives in that. So I think he could. You're right. I think he could tear the league up. So
yeah. I mean, if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick that. I don't see him, crashing. If he does worse than last year, we're in deep shit.
Yeah.
Packers are in deep shit if he does even worse or anything near like, I shouldn't say anywhere near like last year because he wasn't as bad as the stats showed, even though he wasn't that good. But if he doesn't significantly improve, they got a big old contract problem, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. All
right. Save something for next week. So just as a reminder for everybody, hit up our voicemail line 508-535-5468. It's bad color on bad color. Break my own rule of contrast. You can leave us a voicemail and we'll try to let Jeremy answer it. But in all seriousness, you can also email into fans@absolutepacker.com. And if you want to send a little video clip or a little audio clip that way, if that's easier for you, feel free to do that. Get it on your little internet phone and record a little blast and
get on that jitterbug.
Send it over to us. You can see on absolutepacker.com. You can go to the bottom here. There's all these places that you can subscribe and.
It's blurry. Move it over to the middle. It was blurry.
Well, you're not gonna be able to see it. It's gonna be super blurry. There's just a whole. There's a whole list. There's a whole bunch of them.
You're not showing us nudes, are you?
No. Well, that's Jeremy's face, so I don't know. But you can go on to Spotify, you can go on to YouTube, you can go on to Google Podcasts, obviously Apple Podcasts, and subscribe, leave us some feedback, and please share the episode and all that stuff. You know the drill, right? Cool. And go Pack Go.
Yep. Yeah, this was a long one, but it was a lot of fun, gents. So go Pack Go.
Go.
Nice.
Go.
Nicely done. Creature of the wheel. GW.
Podcast.
Chair.
I know, right?